Tipping is getting way out of hand because the other day, my car broke down on the freeway, so I pulled over to the side and called a tow truck company. By the way, I'm not a cheap person, but there is a time and a place for tipping. So anyways, I called the tow truck company and they sent someone out to me. So the tow truck worker arrives and he has a big beard with big muscles. He's huge, but he seems pretty nice at first. He hooks the car up and then he tells me how much I have to pay. It was like $105. That already almost made me cry, but then I was like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna pay it. So I paid it, and then the tipping option comes up. First of all, I didn't even know that tow truck companies ask for tips, but I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just give him a little tip. So I give him $5. He sees that I give him $5 and he says, that's it? I said, what do you mean? And he was like, well, it took me 45 minutes to drive here and the total was $105, so $5 is a really small tip. Bro, my car just broke down. How much money do you think I have? So I said, sorry, that's all I can afford to give right now. And remember, this guy is huge. He is scary looking. And he just looks back at me and goes, whatever, man. But the most terrifying part was that obviously I didn't have a car anymore, so he had to drive me to the place where my car was getting repaired. So I get in his truck and he starts driving to the repair place, and I kid you not, I could feel so much tension in that vehicle. Like, no joke, it felt like at any moment he was just gonna swing at me. But I'm happy to say he got me there without hitting me once. But I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like tipping is getting out of hand. Am I the problem, or do other people feel like this too?
Have you ever had a friend that's down for literally anything? Like, it could range from going to Walmart to hiking Mount Everest, and they'd be down. And that's not even an exaggeration, because one time my friend asked me what my plans were for the day, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm leaving school early today because I have a funeral to go to. But then he said, I'm down. And I was like, what? Then he goes, I'm down to go with you. When should I be ready? So this man just came to the funeral with me for someone that he's never even met. But trust me, it gets weirder, because I've had doctor's appointments before where this man would just beg to come with me. I don't even want to go to the appointment. Why do you want to come? The doctor walks into the office and he's like, oh, is this your legal guardian? And I'm like, no, this is just my homie Greg. I'm just scared for the day when he asks to go to the bathroom with me.
This is your warning to never set an alarm to wake yourself up for school. Because the other night, I set an alarm for the first time because my mom used to just wake me up every day. So I never had to do it. But I don't live with her anymore, so I set an alarm for 7 o'clock. Then I went straight to bed. But the next morning, I wake up and I'm like, wow, my alarm didn't go off yet? I feel like I've been sleeping forever. But then I checked the time on my phone and it turns out I was. Because it was 10:30. So I opened the alarm app on my phone to see why it didn't go off. And it turns out I set the alarm for 7 p.m., not 7 a.m. I literally missed my whole class because of this. I mean, luckily it was just a communications class, so who really cares? But still, I can't trust that alarm anymore. My brother used to always say that he thought I was autistic, and it kind of makes sense because when I was younger, I used to think that being lactose intolerant meant that you were scared of cows. So when my friend told me that he was lactose intolerant, I thought it would be a great idea to get a cow costume, show up at his house, ring his doorbell, and scare him dressed up as a cow. So that's what I did. I got the cow costume, I rang his doorbell, and he was crying. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes, it worked. I scared him. No, because right behind him, his sister was also crying. So it turns out that he wasn't crying because I scared him with my costume. He was crying because their dog just passed away. I had to give my condolences to them dressed up as a damn filet mignon. But the worst part was that being lactose intolerant doesn't even mean that you're scared of cows. So do you know how stupid I looked when I tried to explain to them what I was doing? My brother may have just been right. May have. Every friend group has that one person that they treat like a little kid because they're just not all there in the head. And this friend happens to be me because one time my friend got hit by a car, and you may ask, how does your friend getting hit by a car correlate to you being treated like a little kid? Well, you see, after this happened, my friend got transferred to the hospital and he had a punctured lung, so he couldn't really talk good. And I went to visit him, but I was the only one there at the time because his mom went to go get his food. And the room was super quiet because he couldn't really talk, and I felt like I needed to spark a conversation to make him cheer up. So you know what I said to him? I said, how's your day going? He just got hit by a car and I asked him how his day was. I don't think it was going good, but that's not even the worst part. After I said that, since he couldn't really talk without being in pain, he just decided to not respond to me at all. And instead he closed his eyes and started shaking his head really aggressively. And I had no idea what he was doing at the time, but a couple weeks later, he was talking to me and he told me that he was hoping that if he focused hard enough, then when he opened his eyes again, I would just be gone. Honestly, I think that's deserved. I just gotta stop talking. Why does everyone think their baby is cute? Like, some babies are just ugly, okay? But everyone says they have the cutest baby ever, when in reality, they look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And that's okay. That baby was just in a sack for 9 months. It's not supposed to come out looking fresh with a sick haircut and a dope outfit on. It might be ugly, but you don't gotta lie, because then whenever you say, guys, isn't my baby so cute? You make everyone else feel the need to lie, because they're not gonna be like, hell no, that baby is hideous, even if it is. I'm sure I was an ugly baby too. I wasn't even mewing back then. I'm sure I looked horrible. But we don't gotta lie about it. I used to think there was nothing in the world that could give me the ick until what I saw yesterday. Because I was talking to a girl and she seemed completely normal at first. But then she showed me her dog and I was like, oh, that's a cute dog. There was no problem with it. But then she said, do you want to see my dog's Instagram? And I was like, your dog's got its own Instagram? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever, it's 2024. Dogs have social media now. So I said, yeah, show me the Instagram. And I still didn't have the ick at this point. But when she showed me what the dog's Instagram looked like, I got the ick. It would have a picture of the dog, and then the captions would be worded as if the dog wrote it themselves. Like one of the captions were, got to enjoy a great walk with my mom today. You're telling me the same dog that eats its own poop is writing Instagram captions? No. No. Like the dog is clearly not writing the captions. Why are we pretending it is? I'm not kidding when I say the hairs on my arms literally stood up when I read that. And the thing is, I didn't know this was an ick that I had, but I know it now. So that's the first ick that I found out that I have, and now I understand why people get them. You just can't control it. You can't. Why do girls always have health problems? But not serious issues, it's always minor things. Like every girl I've ever met either always has a headache, stomach ache, or is super tired. And that's not even an exaggeration because there was this girl in my class and on the first day of school, she had a really deep voice. So I was like, oh dang, she must have been screaming at a concert last night or something. But then after about 6 weeks, her voice still sounded like this. So I finally asked her why. And she said it's because she's sick. But I was like, wait, you've sounded like this for 6 weeks. And she went, yeah, that's how long I've been sick. You've been sick for 6 weeks? What are you sick with? The bubonic plague? But she was just like, oh, no, this is normal for me. Normal? You mean you just live like this? But it's not just her. Every girl I've ever talked to is like this. Now, I've only ever talked to like 3 girls in general, but still, they need to find a cure for this. Growing up ugly is crazy because now whenever people flirt with me, I don't trust it. Because when I was a little kid, I got asked out by this girl, but her whole friend group was there when she did it. So I was like, oh, sick, a girl likes me? Heck yeah, I'll go out with you. But right after I said yes, she went, just kidding, and her whole friend group laughed. So from this point on, I had my guard up anytime a girl interacted with me. But then when I got to high school, I was kind of shy, but this one girl would always go out of her way to have conversations with me. And she would laugh at almost everything I said, even when it wasn't funny. So I was like, okay, what trick is this girl trying to pull on me? But then one day, this guy in our class was like, dude, why don't you ask her out? And I said, what are you talking about? Then he was like, well, she clearly likes you. So I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. You guys are pulling a prank on me. So I just stopped talking to her completely so I wouldn't get embarrassed. But then last week, I randomly saw her and she was like, yeah, I totally had a crush on you in high school. But it's too late now because she's engaged and I still have nothing. Have you ever met a couple that everyone thinks should break up, but they just don't? Because there was this couple I knew who got into a huge argument one time because the girl really wanted her boyfriend to buy her a dairy ring, which is a ring that you can only get for one person ever, and it requires your ID to purchase. So if you buy it for this one person, they better be special. But the guy kept refusing to buy the dairy ring, saying that it was a huge decision and that it should be used for an engagement ring. He thought he should only buy it when he was ready to propose. He also kept making excuses that they've been together for a long time and that he's trying to save money for their future, so now wasn't a good time. After this happened, the girl started to think that since he didn't want to buy her the ring, he wasn't serious about the relationship. This led to a huge argument, and from that point on, their relationship was never the same. So I don't know if he just didn't want to buy it because of the purchase rules or if he wasn't ready to propose to her, but either way, they should not be together anymore. Someone is catfishing people on Tinder by using my pictures, and all I have to say is, that is awesome. I will admit it is messed up, but do you know how flattering that is? Like, you think I'm good looking enough that you're gonna catfish people with my pictures? Like, that is the best compliment you could get from someone. Now, I will say, it is weird, so whoever's doing this, don't be saying weird stuff and pretending that it's coming from me, because I know you're a little freaky if you're a catfish already, but if you're gonna be using my pictures, don't be too freaky, all right? But also, at the same time, thank you. I really needed the confidence booster. I appreciate it. If you and your friend have a crush on the same person, do not fight them over it. It will end horribly. Me and my friend had a crush on the same girl, so to decide who got to ask her out, we had a competition where our other friends would put pillowcases over our heads so we couldn't see anything, and they put us in the woods by ourselves and then they left, so we had no idea where they were at, and the competition was whoever ran back to my friend's house first won, but we had no idea how to get there. So I was kind of already freaking out because I was in the woods by myself and I had no idea where to go. But then like 30 minutes into the competition, I started to get really itchy and red, so I was freaking out even more because I was alone and I had no idea what was happening to me. So I started screaming as loud as I could, hoping that anyone would hear me, and my friends did. So they ran over to me, and later I found out that I just had poison ivy, so I was freaking out over nothing, but obviously I lost the competition by default. So the next day, my friend immediately asked this girl out, and it turns out that she liked women the whole time. So I basically got poison ivy for no reason. Now that I think of it, we could have just played rock, paper, scissors to see who got to ask her out. Why did we not do that? Woman's intuition is so annoying because it's never wrong. They'll know things that they have no reason to know. Like, there was this one creator that I used to love watching, and he was super nice. So I showed this girl in my class one of his videos, but immediately within 20 seconds of watching, she goes, no. And I was like, what do you mean, no? And she goes, something's just off about him. I don't like it. And I was like, you only watched him for 20 seconds. And she just said, I can't explain it, but I know something's not right about him. But at the time when she said this, I didn't know the power of women's intuition, so I was just like, yeah, right, you're just being a hater. But literally 2 months later, it comes out that this exact creator, who I thought was the best, most nice guy in the world, was a cannibal. This man was eating people. And you never would have known it because he seemed so normal online, but somehow this girl with her spidey senses just felt it. What other superpowers are you girls not telling us about? This is your warning to never sleep over at my house. Because last time one of my friends did, we were trying to stay up all night, so we bought energy drinks. But what he didn't know is that caffeine does not affect me for some reason. So around 2 a.m., I got really tired and ended up falling asleep. But the next morning, when I woke up, I heard a noise that sounded like a pig in my room. So I looked to my left, and I see my friend laying there on the floor snoring. But the worst part is, he didn't have a blanket, pillow, nothing. Because I was so tired that I fell asleep without remembering to get him any of that. I felt so bad because I thought he must have been super uncomfortable. But that night, we ordered a pizza. So you know what he did? He used the pizza box as a blanket. I thought about waking him up to give him a pillow or something, but honestly, he looked like he was having the best sleep of his life. He was drooling and everything. He was sleeping better than I do on my memory foam mattress. Maybe we all need to try sleeping with the pizza box. Never talk to your mailman, because I did one time and now it's so awkward when I see him. Because he came up to my door and I happened to be leaving my house, so we started talking for a couple of minutes and there was no problem until the conversation was ending. And he said, "Nice talking to you, bye now." And my response was so awkward because right before this, I just told my parents I love them as I was leaving the house, so that was still fresh in my mind. So when the mailman said bye to me, my response was, "All right, love you, bye." I didn't mean to say I love you. I said it out of habit, but it's ruined my life now because every time I see the mailman walking in my neighborhood, if he makes eye contact with me, he literally turns around and walks the opposite way, or he makes sure to go on the exact opposite side of the street so we're not close to each other. So I know he's avoiding me. So to my mailman, if you're watching this, please stop avoiding me, bro. It was an accident. I need my mail. Nobody talks about how different guys act when they're in front of girls. Because I had this friend that lived in a different state, so I never met his girlfriend until I went to visit him. And before this, he was always really nice, and he was never the type of guy to make a joke about you. But when his girl was there, all of a sudden, it felt like I was at my own roast session. Like my shoes were a little bit dirty, so he was like, "Bro, you just come back from the coal mines or what?" And then he would look directly at his girl to see if she laughed. And I know some people might say, "Oh, he's just making some friendly jokes." You're right, but that's not the only thing he did because we were walking home from dinner that night and we were on the sidewalk, and you know what he did? He pushed me straight into a bush. Like, bro, she's already your girlfriend. You don't gotta cook me so much just to impress her. She already likes you. Now I'm walking back home with an allergic reaction just because you wanted to impress a female. I have nothing.
Have you ever been complimented in a way that felt insulting? Because that hurts way more than actually being insulted. Like when I was younger, I used to be pretty big, and one day, my mom was talking to this lady at the bank, and the lady looks right at me and she goes, "Hi, what's your name?" So I tell her my name is Tyler, and she responds by saying, "Tyler, you look like you give the best hugs." The moment she said that, I was like, okay, yep, I gotta go on a diet. Because we all know that what she really wanted to say was, "Damn, boy, you big as hell. How many cheeseburgers you been eating?" But that's not even the most insulting compliment I've gotten before, because I wanted to be a singer when I was younger. So during class one day, I sang for my teacher. And instead of just saying, "Oh, good job," you know what she said? She goes, "Wow, I love your confidence, Tyler." Okay, so I can't sing. Got it. Like, just be honest with me. I can take it. I mean, I may cry later, but I can take it.
This is your warning to never forget to lock your doors when you go to bed at night. Because the other day, I was laying down around 1 a.m. and I thought I heard a sound in the living room. But that didn't make any sense because no one else was home. So I was like, whatever, it's probably nothing. But then I hear another noise and it's even louder. So I'm like, okay, something's definitely out there. But I'm not Batman. I don't want to go out there if someone dangerous broke into my house. So I stay in bed and pull my blanket up to protect myself. But then a couple minutes later, I get a notification that something was moving in my backyard. So I look at the camera and you know what I see? A skunk just walking around. Apparently, I must have forgot to shut the doggy door in our backyard, and the skunk went through it into our house looking for food. I'm glad I never left my room to see what was out there though, because I ain't beating a skunk in a fight. That thing would probably just fart on me and I'd cry. Why do rich people get so defensive when you mention that they're rich? Like, I go to school with this kid that everyone knows is really wealthy, and sometimes people will make jokes about it, and his response is always like, "I'm not even that rich." Like, bro, what are you doing? Because if I was rich and someone tried to make fun of me for it, saying, "Oh, look, there's the rich kid," I'd be like, "Heck yeah, I'm rich. I'm super rich." I would be flexing on him. Trust me, there's a lot of things that I'm insecure about, but being rich would not be one of them. Nobody talks about how fun it is to help your friend get over a breakup. Because last year, this girl broke up with my friend, and the day after the breakup, he texts me and a couple other guys and says that he wants to hang out. So we go to his house, and he says, "Come on, get in the car." So I ask where we're going, and he says to the barber. But this guy has hair that goes down to his shoulders, so he never gets haircuts. And without telling us, he gets a mohawk with green spikes. He asks us how it looks, and we say it looks awful, so he's like, "Great, that's exactly what I was going for." But then the whole drive home, he just had his music on in the car full blast, and he literally sticked his head out the window and was screaming the lyrics. He definitely swallowed like 5 flies, but hey, everyone gets over breakups in their own way. Third wheeling a couple can either be the best experience ever or the worst experience ever, because I used to third wheel my friend and his girlfriend, and it literally felt like I was their child. I loved it. But when they would argue, it was horrible because they would make me get involved. Like, my friend forgot their 1 year anniversary, so she got really angry at him. And then they started arguing with each other, so they asked me for my opinion on the situation. And what am I supposed to say? No matter who I agree with, someone is gonna be mad at me. But the worst part was that when they broke up, I literally felt like I was a child going through divorce. Like, after the breakup, she would talk trash about him to me, and he would talk trash about her to me. And I was like, you guys know that I'm still friends with both of you, right? Like, stop talking bad about each other. Grow up already. You signed the papers already, all right? The divorce is final. Leave me out of it. This is your warning to not be friends with tall people, because I used to be friends with someone that was like 6'7", and if you have a friend that's really tall, then you know that they will make fun of your height even if you're not short. Like, when I would hang out with him, even though I myself am also above average height, when I was standing next to him, everyone would joke that I was 4'11". Do you know how short 4'11" is? Danny DeVito is 4'11". Also, he would always call me a little munchkin, and I don't know about you, but I am way too insecure to be called that. But the worst part was that sometimes he would use my head as an armrest, and at this point I was like, all right, I can't take this disrespect anymore. I need to do something. And then I had an idea. I'm gonna chop his legs off. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. But I did seriously think about it. I just don't stand within 10 feet of him anymore. That way, I don't look like an Oompa Loompa. I just can't keep being compared to Danny DeVito. No offense, Mr. DeVito. You seem like a really nice guy. This is your warning to never cry in front of me, because one time my friend came up to me looking super sad, so I asked him what was wrong, and he literally was like, my dog, it passed away yesterday. And I genuinely felt so bad for him. But whenever someone is crying to me, I have no idea what to do, so I just start laughing for some reason. So when he told me his dog passed away, this was literally my reaction. Oh my gosh, dude, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. And after I did this, my friend was like, dude, why are you laughing? That's so messed up. And I was like, I don't know. I can't control it. So just don't cry in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm not the right person to go to. This is your reminder that you cannot sell your friends, because I have a buddy who really likes this girl, but she doesn't really like him back yet. Like, he asked her out on a date already and she said no. So he's trying to figure out what he can do to make her want to go out with him. Lucky for him, she has a friend that does everything with her. So my friend thought it would be a great idea to offer for me to come so we could all go on a double date. Did he ask me if I wanted to do this? No. But do I want to do it? No! So the girl's best friend DM'd me trying to get to know me better before we go on the double date. And she asked me, are you excited? And I was trying to think of a way that I could say, no, I'm not excited. I don't want to go. But I was nervous and I panicked. So I just made up a lie and said, I'm not really excited because my last girlfriend just died and I'm still not over her. That's a lie. That never happened. But it was the first excuse that I could think of. So the girl was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I get if it's too soon to go on dates again. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not ready yet. So I got out of the date. That's good, right? But then my friend hit me up and he said, hey, when did you have a girlfriend that passed away? I didn't. That was a lie. But this is what happens when you put me up for sale. So you shouldn't have done that. The worst part about being a man is that you can't do certain things that girls can do. Like, my lips were chapped today, so I was putting some chapstick on. But while I was doing it, I accidentally made eye contact with my friend. So then he was like, bro, stop looking at me all freaky like that. He thought I was getting my lips ready to kiss him or something. But something that's even worse about being a man is that I love to sit with my legs crossed because it's just super comfy. But every time I do, my friends laugh at me as if I'm doing something wrong. Y'all are laughing like this ain't the most comfortable sitting position ever. I can't do anything without getting judged. And don't even get me started on how you can't eat a banana normally as a guy. The other day, I was recording a TikTok and my friend says to me, have you ever realized how bad your posture is when you make these videos? And I said, no, I haven't really thought about it. So I'm recording myself from the side right now on another phone to see if it's as bad as he says, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. The other day, I was making a TikTok and my friend says to me, have you ever realized how bad your posture? I look disgusting. You know what? I'm never slouching again. I'm not. If you see me in public, I'm standing up straight like this from now on. No one talks about how crazy women's intuition is, because there was a girl at my school that thought her boyfriend was cheating on her, but she had no evidence of it. She just had a gut feeling. So she literally went through a list of all the girls that her boyfriend followed. And she somehow found a random girl's page that she just had a weird suspicion about. So she DM'd her. And apparently that girl was also dating the guy at the same time, and neither of them knew. She just randomly picked the right girl. How did she do that out of the 400 people that he follows, you may ask? I don't know. But that's why you don't cheat on your girlfriend. They will turn into the best detective you've ever seen. Nobody talks about the difference in how Gen Z acts at work versus older generations. Because my friend had a job where he made really good money, but he also really wanted to take some time off because we were gonna go on vacation. But the boss said no because he's already taken too much time off this year, and if he took any more off, he would be fired. But what the boss didn't understand is that my friend was just asking to be nice. He was going on that trip no matter what. So he came with us, and while we were on vacation, he got a call from his boss. So he picks it up, and the boss goes, hey, why aren't you at work today? And my friend sent him a picture of the beach showing where we were at. And I don't know exactly what his boss responded by saying, but I do know that when my friend got back home, he was looking for a new job. This is your warning to never stay at a 1-star hotel. Because my friends and I needed a place to stay last night, so we booked the only hotel in the area. And right when we got there, you could tell the place was pretty old, but I was like, it can't be that bad. Until I walk inside to book a room, and the worker at the front desk was like, what do you want? So I said, to book a room? Like, why else would I be here? But after I said that, he made me sign like 10 different papers. So I was super confused because I'm just trying to get a hotel room, not get married. Why do I need to sign all of this? And he said, these are all waivers. What? But then he gave me the key, so I walk into my room, pull the covers off the bed because I wanted to lay down, but what do I see? A brown stain on the sheets. Now, I don't know if it was chocolate or something else, but either way, I was scared to go near it, but also at the same time, I didn't want to sleep on the ground there, so I ended up sleeping on the bed. And I woke up really early, but my arm was super itchy, so I look at it, and I had a bite mark. When I saw this, I got out of the hotel as fast as I could.
Nobody talks about how scary it is to hang out with someone who's mean to their parents. Cause I knew someone like this, and one time I was hanging out at his house and we were just playing video games, but then his mom walks in and is like, hey, are you guys hungry? And he lost the game right when she came in, so he got mad and he was like, shut up, mom, you ruined my game, get out. Did you say shut up? To your mother? Dog, if I said that to my parents, they probably would have sent me to space with no way back. I'd still be floating out there millions of miles away right now like, but it's so scary being around someone like this because there's so much tension. Like after he said this to her, the mom looked at me and I was just like, I shouldn't have been surprised he's like this though, since his name in his contacts for his mom is literally just birth giver. Like that should have made it obvious.
Nobody talks about how scary it is when your sibling starts being nice to you because there's only 2 reasons they ever will be. Either they did something really bad or they want your help. Like when my brother and I were younger, one day he came into my room and he was like, hey, I'm going to McDonald's. Do you want anything? So I was like, you never ask me if I want anything to eat. What's wrong with you today? But he insisted there was nothing wrong and I almost believed him until later that day. He asked me to come outside, so I do, and I see that there's a huge dent in our dad's car. Our father wasn't home yet, so he didn't see it, but my brother was like, can you please say you made the dent? You're the youngest, so dad won't get as mad if you say you did it. And I was like, listen, it doesn't matter if Casper the ghost made that dent. Either way, whoever did it is gonna get punished. So I said, I will absolutely not take the blame for you. And then when our dad got home that night, let's just say, there was a lot of tears in that house.
Is anyone else's friend group literally impossible to make plans with? Like, I genuinely think we're gonna get GTA 6 before my friend group has a day where everyone can hang out. There's always a problem. Tell me why the other day, I asked my friend if they wanted to hang out, and they said they couldn't, but that we should schedule a day in the future too. So I said, okay, what day works for you? And they gave me a date that was in 3 months. Dog, you are unemployed. How are you not available for 3 months? Like, what are you doing that's making you so busy? Climbing Mount Everest? Every time these types of people say they can't hang out, I get the feeling that they're not actually busy and that they just don't want to hang out with me. So they just make up an excuse. If that's the case, just tell me. I can take it. But if somehow plans actually do get made, they always cancel the day of. And they always have the worst excuses why. They'll be like, oh, sorry, I can't go. I have to babysit my nephew. First of all, you don't have a nephew. Second of all, ain't no one letting you babysit a baby. I'm really convinced this just happens because they don't want to hang out. It happens a lot, by the way.
What would you do if you ruined someone's birthday party? Because that's what I did.
So it was my birthday yesterday, which also happens to be my least favorite day of the year because I'm super introverted. So I don't like the attention being on me, but my friends decided to throw me a big party anyway. So when I got home and everyone came out from hiding and yelled, surprise! I did not look happy because this was my worst nightmare. And that's not an exaggeration because every year my mom asks what I want to do for my birthday and I'm like, Mom, please don't make me celebrate my birthday. Like, what did I do to deserve this punishment? But it got worse because since this was a surprise party, they got me a cake with candles. So they wanted to sing happy birthday to me. And if you're an introvert, you know that people singing happy birthday to you is your worst nightmare. So right when they started singing, I immediately just blew out the candles so they would stop. And everyone looked super disappointed, but hey, maybe next time, don't throw me a party.
I made a video where I was dancing, and the top comment said, this is why we need to bring back bullying. But the worst part is it had 45,000 likes. Do you know how many people that is? This is what it looks like. Imagine this many people saying that you deserve to get bullied. The worst part is, you guys are right. I probably deserve to get bullied for my dancing. But I don't see you on Dancing with the Stars, huh? Let's see your dance moves.
Be honest with me. Can I wear this outfit that I'm about to show you to a wedding? Because I think everyone's either gonna hate it and laugh at me, or everyone's gonna love it. Here's the outfit.
Doing the things that I never would know. Treat me like what geez.
What do you think, huh? Never mind, my mom said the outfit makes me look like a grain of rice, so I'm not wearing it.
This is a warning if you're thinking about texting your crush first, because I used to like this girl, but I would never text her because I thought to myself, if she likes me back, she'll initiate the conversation. But she never did, so we literally never talked. And I saw her for the first time in years yesterday, and I asked her, why did you never hit me up? And she said, I was waiting for you to make the first move. So we literally never talked because we were both waiting for the other person to make the first move. And I was thinking to myself like, damn, I wonder what could have happened between us if I hit her up first. But now she's engaged, so I think that's off the table. But this should be your sign. If you like someone, text them first. They'll probably be happy you did, or they'll block you. At least you'll get an answer.
This is your reminder that you cannot sell your friends. Because I have a buddy who really likes this girl, but she doesn't really like him back yet. Like, he asked her out on a date already, and she said no. So he's trying to figure out what he can do to make her want to go out with him. Lucky for him, she has a friend that does everything with her. So my friend thought it would be a great idea to offer for me to come so we could all go on a double date. Did he ask me if I wanted to do this? No. But do I want to do it? No! So the girl's best friend DM'd me trying to get to know me better before we go on the double date. And she asked me, are you excited? And I was trying to think of a way that I could say, no, I'm not excited. I don't want to go. But I was nervous and I panicked. So I just made up a lie and said, I'm not really excited because my last girlfriend just died and I'm still not over her. That's a lie. That never happened. But it was the first excuse that I could think of. So the girl was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I get if it's too soon to go on dates again. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not ready yet. So I got out of the date. That's good, right? But then my friend hit me up and he said, hey, when did you have a girlfriend that passed away? I didn't. That was a lie. But this is what happens when you put me up for sale. So you shouldn't have done that.
What you say and what your parents hear are two very different things. Cause one time, my dad asked me why I've never had a girlfriend before. And I was like, to be honest, Dad, I just haven't found a girl that I could see myself spending the rest of my life with yet. But when I said this, he took a big breath and then he was like, son, you're 20 years old. Just be honest with me. Do you even like girls? I didn't even know how to respond, but my mom does this too, because I remember when I was struggling in school, I told my mom I was gonna stay after class because a girl was gonna tutor me. And she was like, okay, Tyler, but don't do anything with this girl that you'll regret in the future. I'm too young to be a grandma already. Well, considering the fact that my tutor is about 60 years old, I don't think you have anything to worry about, Mom. But either way, why is that the first thing that came to her mind?
Nobody talks about how different guys act when they're in front of girls. Because I had this friend that lived in a different state, so I never met his girlfriend until I went to visit him. And before this, he was always really nice, and he was never the type of guy to make a joke about you. But when his girl was there, all of a sudden, it felt like I was at my own roast session. Like, my shoes were a little bit dirty, so he was like, bro, you just come back from the coal mines or what? And then he would look directly at his girl to see if she laughed. And I know some people might say, oh, he's just making some friendly jokes. You're right, but that's not the only thing he did, because we were walking home from dinner that night and we were on the sidewalk, and you know what he did? He pushed me straight into a bush. Like, bro, she's already your girlfriend. You don't gotta cook me so much just to impress her. She already likes you. Now I'm walking back home with an allergic reaction just because you wanted to impress a female. I have nothing.
I used to think there was nothing in the world that could give me the ick until what I saw yesterday. Because I was talking to a girl and she seemed completely normal at first. But then she showed me her dog and I was like, oh, that's a cute dog. There was no problem with it. But then she said, do you want to see my dog's Instagram? And I was like, your dog's got its own Instagram? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever, it's 2024. Dogs have social media now. So I said, yeah, show me the Instagram. And I still didn't have the ick at this point. But when she showed me what the dog's Instagram looked like, I got the ick. It would have a picture of the dog, and then the captions would be worded as if the dog wrote it themselves. Like one of the captions were, got to enjoy a great walk with my mom today. You're telling me the same dog that eats its own poop is writing Instagram captions? No. No. Like, the dog is clearly not writing the captions. Why are we pretending it is? I'm not kidding when I say the hairs on my arms literally stood up when I read that. And the thing is, I didn't know this was an ick that I had, but I know it now. So that's the first ick that I found out that I have, and now I understand why people get them. You just can't control it. You can't.
This is your warning to never eat past midnight. Because one time, my friends and I were at an amusement park at 1 a.m., but it closed, so we had to leave. And unfortunately, all of our phones were dead, so we had no way of getting a ride back home because we Ubered there. And it was really cold, so we were like, okay, let's just find a place to sit indoors and figure this out. But there was only one place open, which happened to be IHOP. So we walk inside IHOP, and we're the only ones there. And as the waitress walks us to our table, my friend thought it would be funny to take a piece of bacon someone left over on their plate and eat it. Sadly, the waitress saw him do this and she didn't think it was funny at all. So she kicked us right back into the cold where we had to sit there freezing. We tried finding another place to go, but they were all closed. So how did we get home, you ask? Well, one of the IHOP workers saw us sitting outside and he drove us home for $50. To be honest, he may actually not have even worked there. I don't know. Have you ever met a couple that everyone thinks should break up, but they just don't? Because there was this couple I knew who got into a huge argument one time because the girl really wanted her boyfriend to buy her a dairy ring, which is a ring that you can only get for one person ever, and it requires your ID to purchase. So if you buy it for this one person, they better be special. But the guy kept refusing to buy the dairy ring, saying that it was a huge decision and that it should be used for an engagement ring. He thought he should only buy it when he was ready to propose. He also kept making excuses that they've been together for a long time and that he's trying to save money for their future, so now wasn't a good time. After this happened, the girl started to think that since he didn't want to buy her the ring, he wasn't serious about the relationship. This led to a huge argument, and from that point on, their relationship was never the same. So I don't know if he just didn't want to buy it because of the purchase rules or if he wasn't ready to propose to her, but either way, they should not be together anymore.
Have you ever had a friend that's down for literally anything? Like, it could range from going to Walmart to hiking Mount Everest, and they'd be down. And that's not even an exaggeration, because one time my friend asked me what my plans were for the day, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm leaving school early today because I have a funeral to go to. But then he said, I'm down. And I was like, what? Then he goes, I'm down to go with you. When should I be ready? So this man just came to the funeral with me for someone that he's never even met. But trust me, it gets weirder, because I've had doctor's appointments before where this man would just beg to come with me. I don't even want to go to the appointment. Why do you want to come? The doctor walks into the office and he's like, oh, is this your legal guardian? And I'm like, no, this is just my homie Greg. I'm just scared for the day when he asks to go to the bathroom with me. The worst type of friend to have is the one that can't take the hint when you want them to leave. Because one time, my friend came over to my house the night before I had to get my wisdom teeth removed. So I wanted to make sure I could get good sleep that night. But around 10 p.m., I felt like going to sleep. So I said to my friend, damn, it's getting pretty late. But he goes, not really, it's only 10. Then I was like, yeah, but I have to wake up early, so it's pretty late for me. But then he goes, oh yeah, I guess so. And that's all he says. So I'm like, dang, I'm gonna have to get creative because he is not taking the hint. But we didn't have dinner that night, so I said to him, you're probably pretty hungry, huh? And he goes, yeah, can we eat something? And I go, nah, sorry, my doctor said I'm not allowed to eat the night before surgery. You should probably just get something on your way home. But he responds by saying, oh no, it's okay. I'll just order food to the house. So finally, I just gave up. And as he was ordering food, I was like, Landon, get out of my house! And I learned at that moment to never invite him over at night, or else he'll never leave.
Do the unemployed friends always have the most money? Because I know someone that's never had a job, but the other day they were like, hey, do you want to go to Europe this summer? Where did you get that much money? And I know everyone's gonna say, oh, he has rich parents. But he doesn't. His dad's a plumber and his mom doesn't work. He just somehow has money. But the most funny thing is he'll call in the middle of the day and be like, hey, what are you doing? Work, Steven. I'm working. Like a normal person. And then he'll just be like, oh, well, do you want to go on a cruise right now? Yeah, I do want to go on a cruise right now, but I can't because I'm working. That's how you acquire the money to do these things. Not everyone can spawn it out of nowhere like they're playing GTA. Then his response when I told him that I couldn't go was, oh, well, just quit. You don't think I want to? So I have a theory that he won the lottery, but he's just not telling anyone else. That's the only explanation that makes sense to me. Nobody talks about how scary it is when your friend doesn't change their personality around your parents. Because there's this kid at my school that I really liked hanging out with, but he liked to make really inappropriate jokes. And one day, we decided to hang out at my house for the first time. But when we get there, I introduce him to my parents, and I expect him to act like a normal human being and say something like, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Vitelli, thank you for letting me come over. But instead, the first thing that comes out of his mouth when he sees my parents is, oh, so you guys are the ones that created Tyler in the bedroom. Why would you say that? It's like you want my parents to spank me with the belt. But the worst part was that after he said this, you could tell by the look on his face that he didn't regret it. So I was like, oh no, it's gonna get worse. So I just pretended that one of our other friends texted us asking to hang out so we could leave the house. But from that point on, I learned to never bring that man around my parents again.